Once upon a time, a witch loved stories galore, and greedy as she was, she wanted more and more. When she saw that the librarian had stories of all kinds, she said, "I'll capture you, all your stories will be mine." There took place a curious chase through meadow, tree, and flower, till at last they ended up right at the witch's tower. Now poor Marian, the librarian, a prisoner she'll stay, until the witch is happy and lets Marian go away.
Hi, I'm glad you came to help us get an Easter Bunny story. We've already found some things in the trunk, haven't we? Here is an Easter basket. You can put Easter eggs in a basket like this. And here are some pretty colored eggs. And these are little gold shoes. Now, they're a very important part of the story today, so watch for them. Now, let's turn the machine on. And it's called The Country Bunny and the Little Gold Shoes. Du Bois Hayward wrote this story. We hear of the Easter Bunny who comes each Easter day to bring eggs for us, so we think there is only one. But there are really 5 Easter bunnies, and they must be the 5 kindest and swiftest and wisest bunnies in the whole wide world. One day, a little country girl bunny said, "Someday I shall grow up to be an Easter bunny. You wait and see." Then all of the big white bunnies and the jackrabbits laughed at the little cottontail and told her to go back to the country and eat a carrot. But she said, "Wait and see." By and by, she grew up and had a husband, and then one day there were 21 cottontail babies to take care of. Cottontail stopped thinking about hopping over the world with lovely eggs for little boys and girls, and she took care of her babies. And one day, when her children stopped being babies and were little girl and boy bunnies, she called them to her and said, "Now we are going to have some fun." Then to 2 of them she gave little brooms and showed them how to sweep out the cottage. And 2 she taught how to make beds. 2 more went with her to the kitchen, and in no time at all had found out how to cook a good dinner. And with these went 2 little dishwashers, and they made the glasses shine like crystal. 2 had little wash tubs full of soap suds, and they washed all the linen. 2 did the sewing and mending. 2 were taught to sing, and 2 more to dance, and these amused all the others. 2 others were soon digging in the garden. To 2 she gave paints and crayons so they could make pretty pictures for the walls. There was only one little boy bunny left, and Mother Cottontail said to him, "You are the most polite of all my children, so I shall make you keeper of my chair. And whenever I come to dinner, you shall seat me politely at the table." Then one day, one of the 5 Easter bunnies grew too slow, and everyone went to the Palace of Easter Eggs to see old Grandfather pick out a new one to take his place. When Mother Cottontail and her little cottontails came to the Palace of Easter Eggs, there were bunnies everywhere on the lawn. Then Grandfather told the biggest bunnies, and those with the longest legs, to show what they could do. They jumped and ran and showed him their pretty fur, but still he did not pick one. And he said to them, "You are pretty and fast, but you have not shown me that you are either kind or wise." His kind old eyes looked everywhere, and then he called Mother Cottontail to come right up to the palace steps. And he said, "Tell me, do your children always look so happy?" "Indeed they do," she answered. We never have a tear or a cross word in our little country cottage." "Then," he said, "you must be very kind indeed to have such a happy home. It is too bad that you have had no time to run and grow swift, as I might then have made you my 5th Easter bunny." At that, Mother Cottontail started to laugh. Then she whispered to the little bunnies, and suddenly all of her 21 children raced away. And Cottontail dashed after them, and in no time at all she had them all back again in front of the palace. Then the old, kind, wise grandfather bunny said, "I see that you are swift also. It is too bad that you cannot go to carry my eggs, because you will have to stay at home to take care of your children." Mother Cottontail stepped in front of her little ones, and she said, "They will take better care of the house than I." Then she called them up 2 by 2, and she said, "These are my sweepers. These make the beds without a wrinkle. These cook my dinner. These wash the dishes. These tend the garden. These wash and dry all the clothes. These do the mending. These sing, and these dance to keep us merry while we work. These are learning to paint pretty pictures for our walls. And this littlest one of all always pulls out my chair for me when I sit to table. So you see, I can leave them to take care of the house until I come home." Then the old, kind, wise grandfather bunny said, "You have proved yourself to be not only wise and kind and swift, but also very clever. Come to the palace tomorrow afternoon, for that is Easter Eve. You shall be my 5th Easter bunny." The next evening, Cottontail knocked on the big front door and was admitted to the palace. They showed her all over the palace, from room to room, all piled high with eggs of gold and silver, eggs that glittered like snow, chocolate eggs, marshmallow eggs, eggs for rich children and eggs for poor children, for children who were sick and children who were well, all over the world. Then, as soon as it was dark enough for the children to be asleep all over the world, the kind old grandfather gave the word, and the 5 bunnies set to work as fast as they could. Slowly the night wore away, and the bunnies began to look tired as they kept returning for more and more eggs. Poor little Cottontail was growing very tired when old, wise, kind grandfather called her to him. When she went close, she saw that he was holding in his hand the loveliest egg she had ever seen. And he said, "Because you have such a loving heart for children, I am going to give you the best but the hardest trip of all. Far away there is a great mountain peak, and in a little cottage on that peak is a brave little boy who has been ill for a whole year. The mountain is so high that there is ice on the top, and it will be hard to climb. But if you get there, you will give more happiness than any other Easter bunny." Cottontail picked up the egg very gently and went hopping away, crossing a river and then another, going over one mountain and then another and yet another, until at last she reached the highest mountain of all. Very carefully she started hopping up until she was almost to the top, and she could see the little cottage all covered with snow where the little boy was sleeping. Then a terrible thing happened. Her foot slipped, and down she came, down into snowdrifts. Down, down she went, and she crashed against the trunk of a great apple tree. And there she lay with the egg still safely clutched in her paw, but with a great pain in her leg. She tried to rise again, but the pain was so bad she fell down. Then right before her, way off there in that distant land, was old, wise, kind Grandfather Bunny. And he smiled at her, and he said, "You are not only wise and kind and swift, but you are also the bravest of all the bunnies. and I shall make you my very own gold shoe Easter bunny." And he bent down and put 2 tiny gold shoes on her feet. Suddenly, before she knew what was happening, she found herself flying high in the air, and when she landed, she saw that one single jump had carried her halfway up the mountain. Then she jumped once again, and there she was at the cottage door. Quickly she squeezed through the tiny crack that had been left open, just in case the Easter bunny did come all that way. And in the hand of the beautiful sleeping boy, she placed the egg. Then she jumped quickly back to the palace, where she found her little basket for her own little bunnies, and went hopping back home to give them a happy Easter. And sure enough, just as she had said, everything was in order, and her 21 children were all sound asleep in their little beds. And the little house of Mother Cottontail can always be told now from the homes of all other bunnies, because in a special place on the wall, on a very special hook, hangs a pair of very tiny little gold shoes. Oh, I think Kerfumbly will like this story.
You think she'll let me go?
Well, you wait here, and we'll call her, all right? Will you help me? Left and right and Zachary Zoo, here's a story just for you.
Oh, an Easter Bunny story already?
There it is.
The Country Bunny and the little gold shoes. Was the Country Bunny an Easter Bunny? She was. Why did she get to be an Easter Bunny? Because she was kind and swift and wise and brave. Well, what did she do that was brave? Oh, she tried to climb the mountain where the little boy lived. And where did she get those little gold shoes? Grandfather Bunny. Why did he give them to her? Because she was swift and brave and wise and kind? Oh, this is just such a good story, Marion. I really feel like doing something kind. I think I'll let Johnny go home. In fact, I'll take him home on my broom. What is happening? Oh. Why, do you suppose these are for me?
I'll bet they are, Kerfumbly, because you just did something kind.
Oh, thank you, Kerfumbly.
Oh, look.
Oh, look, I got some too.
Because you just did something kind. Now you better hurry so Johnny can get home for supper. Goodbye. Kerfumbly actually did something kind. It makes me want to do something kind for her, like get her another story. Will you help me? Good. Oh, look. We got some, too. See you next time.
Once upon a time, a witch loved stories galore, and greedy as she was, she wanted more and more. When she saw that the librarian had stories of all kinds, she said, "I'll capture you, all your stories will be mine." There took place a curious chase through meadow, tree, and flower, till at last they ended up right at the witch's tower. Now poor Marian, the librarian, a prisoner she'll stay, until the witch is happy and lets Marian go away.